Perfect. Question number 1 that you guys had on quiz 6 is asking you, how are infographics different from data visualizations? The correct answer is first choice. Data visualizations are generally briefer. So they are a subset of infographics. Infographics have multiple visualizations, maybe some message to send, some text. They basically tell a story, tell a complete story. Whereas when you have a data visualization, your audience should find out what the story is. In the lab exercise, creating interactive dashboards, VLOOKUP function is applied to the Pew story data Excel file many times for multiple columns. What is the benefit of using VLOOKUP function in this case? What do you guys think? Yeah, the key is we do not need to traverse the entire table to change row by row. Only change one row in the reference table. That's the advantage of using VLOOKUP function. And the rest of them are obviously wrong. Question number 3, we have a horizontal bar chart. What do you think about it? So one of them is way larger than the others. So we'll have a hard time making between category comparisons between these guys and this guy. Suppose we want to, this is based on the lab exercise. We want to make this chart interactive and controlled by story date and source category. What do we need to do? Ade has a response already. The key is we are gonna need to use filters. And the only answer that has filters in it is number 2. Another question from the lab exercise. Make this smaller. In the following dashboard, when we select one of the story topic label in the story topic chart, the corresponding stories by source chart below did not change. How can we fix this? So we made an update to this. This did not get updated. Yeah, so we have to say use as filter. And we have to consider the story topics bar. That's where we right click, because these two answers are pretty similar. So the correct answer is number 2. Number 6, bar charts visualize data that's organized according to categories as a series of bars where the height or length of each bar represents the value of the data in each category. Assume that we are given categorical data and we have 2 subcategories, also known as segments. for each category. For example, we have 3 different animals as main categories, and we want to visualize how many of each animal exists in 2 different zoos. These are subcategories or segments. For example, LA Zoo and San Diego Zoo. How should we sort these charts based on their ability to perform precise between segment comparisons? Segments are LA Zoo versus San Diego Zoo. Yeah, number 1 is correct. Stacked bar charts would be the worst. And with that, you are eliminating 2 of these answers. And the best one is group bar chart. Let me show you how we should go about visualizing this. Okay, this is what I wanted you to visualize. This is not exactly the zoo example, but it delivers the message. We have different segments. The segments are Kent, Lincoln, Mersey, York. These are, I believe, counties or areas in London. And then we have categories. Notice the difference between categories and segments in here. We want to make between segment comparisons. For example, difference between the new revenue from Lincoln County and Mersey County. This is between segment. What chart does that best? This chart, grouped bar charts. Again, we have 4 categories. Here, these 4 categories are 4 quarters of year 2020. And for each category, we have 4 subcategories or 4 segments. Here, these are different areas in London. Okay. Now, why is stacked bar charts the worst? Let me show you. Screenshot here. So this is another example, not for the zoo example or the revenue example. This is a stack bar chart comparing sales strategies. And it's not a good chart, but the message that I want to deliver to you is that these are segments. For example, orange and blue. These are different segments. And as you can see, comparing the segments is extremely difficult. So categories here are the strategies, and products are subcategories. And for example, here, we have a really hard time comparing this guy against this guy. You agree with me, right? This is between segment comparison. So because of this, Stacked bar charts would be the worst. And because of what we explained earlier, group bar charts are the best, and diverging bar charts would be in the middle. So the first one would be the best answer. All right, it's getting so small. I'm gonna make the font larger. The following visualization is an example of what? This probably some of you had not seen before taking this course. Yeah, this is a bullet chart. And the main thing here that is setting it apart from other chart types is that you have a target. And you're meeting that target or you're not meeting that target. If you're not meeting, a different color is used. If you're meeting, color blue is used. And target is your expectation, right? So this is a bullet chart. We have the following data set. Which of the following box plots can visualize this data set? The correct answer is B, as Ade put in the chat. So let's see what we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Our data set has 7 members, odd number, therefore we have a middle member or middle element, which is 7. So 7 is the median, right? And on these 3, 7 is the median. This is the median, right? And then let's find the median of the left side. The left side is this, 2, 3, 5. What is the median of that? That's another way to eliminate the wrong answers. That's number 3. So Q1 must be set at 3. And with that, we are good, right? We are only left with B. Because Q1 is 3 here. Actually, now that I'm coming to think of it, if we just look at Q1, which is the median of the bottom half of the data, we can quickly get the correct answer. This is the bottom half of the data. The median is 3. Let's find out the box plot whose Q1 is 3. This one is 3, this one is 2, this one is 2, this one is 5. So we can easily eliminate the wrong answers and we are left with the correct answer. Did you guys follow that? Other people? All right. The following 2 statements are true or false. Some of you got this wrong. These are both false. If we want to compare several series of data, a histogram would be a better choice than a box plot. No, in fact, it's the other way around. And here we have an example, right? One way to draw the whiskers in a box plot is to set the lower whisker to Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR and the upper whisker to Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. Why is this wrong? Type in the chat if you know why this is wrong. Okay, good. Anyone wants to add anything? So let me ask you this. What was this 1.5 thing in my video lecture? Yeah, this was to detect outliers, right? This wasn't to where we draw the whiskers. This was to detect outliers. Is that clear? Okay. Question number 10. Gantt charts is the correct answer. It's specifically for planning. All right, that was the quiz. Let's spend a minute or two taking attendance. You are gonna face a Zoom poll. You know what to do. Eight people have not participated, which means they are not paying attention, right? In 30 seconds, we are gonna close this. We are recording this meeting, so we don't need to repeat going over any questions. So you are gonna receive a link, and that will have everything that I am covering today. Question number 1. This we discussed last week. Now let's deal with question number 2. Give me a second, I'm answering someone in the chat. All right, whoever messaged me, you are taken care of. All right, consider the workflow of data that's going from raw data to taking some actions, making decisions. When we move from data to information, we usually face questions of type A. How much, how many, what are? When we go from information to knowledge, we typically face questions of type B. Why are? Lastly, when we move from knowledge to taking some action, we need to answer questions of type C. How do we, how can we? Data visualization plays a direct role in answering of questions of type which one? A, B, C, or all of the above. And this is a very similar to a question we discussed in the quiz 2 weeks ago. Yeah, the correct answer is A and B. Questions of type C have to do with the decisions that we make, so our data visualizations cannot directly impact those, can only indirectly impact those. Question 3. This is probably the easiest question. Tableau public is like Google Docs of Tableau. We have a true-false question here. The sequential color scheme can be used for both quantitative and categorical data. That's a false. Because it's not categorical, it's quantitative. Both highlight and alert color schemes are for categorical comparisons, and we know that, right? When you think about highlight and alert color schemes, you should remind yourself of multiple bars next to each other, one of them either highlighting something or alerting about something. In the latter case, the color would be an alarming color. Question number 5. The visualizations in the top row try to visualize a company sale in 4 different months. These guys. The visualization in the bottom row also show the company sales in 4 different months, and furthermore, they attempt to highlight the month that has the highest sales. Which visualization from the top row is preferred? Also, which visualization from the bottom row is preferred? Between these two, I would like B. Between these two, I would like A, because we have blue. We have a different shade of blue for highlighting this. So we are not unnecessarily using different colors. We have 2 visualizations that are not shown here. The first one uses the top legend, and the second one uses the bottom legend. What do we know about the palette, the color palette of these 2 visualizations? Yeah, both are diverging. And both are typical examples of diverging that we use in the class. So number 1 is the correct answer. When you have diverging, you have some point in the middle. It could be 0, it could be a target, it could be an expectation. Based on the data set below, identify the columns that contain ordinal data. Alan, you're right. It's date only. We already discussed date is both ordinal and quantitative, depending on how you think about it. But the rest of these guys are not ordinal. For example, this is categorical. Customer name is categorical. Order ID is quantitative, because you go from 1 up. And then we have category is categorical, product ID is categorical, brand is categorical, product name is categorical, agent ID is categorical. There is no natural order, remember. This is how we code it. It's not like there is an order. Agent name is categorical, price is quantitative, quantity is quantitative. It's only date. The box plot shown below visualizes the heights in inches of the students in a class. What percentage of the students are between 60 and 65 inches tall? Yeah, based on the definition of box plots and how box plots work, it's 50%. So the box represents the middle 50% of the data because it's from Q1 to Q3. Below Q1, we have 25% of our data. Above Q3, we have 25% of our data. So in the middle, which is the box, we have 50% of our data. Question number 9, what are the values of IQR and Q2 in the data set visualized by the following chart? IQR is this guy, 7, minus this guy, Q1, 1. So it's 6. And median is this. It's 6. So 6, 6. How many of the following variables or attributes are categorical? I'm gonna post the answer in. All right, good. 3 of them are categorical. Type of cheese is categorical. Eye color is categorical. And first name is categorical. The rest are either quantitative or ordinal. Ordinal ones are class mark, A, B, C, D, E, F. There is some order into it, but you cannot necessarily subtract or aggregate those. Starbucks string sizes. This has some order into it, but you cannot subtract or add. So 3 is the correct answer. All right. Getting back to the point I was making a few questions ago. Which one is the better definition of an outlier in a data set? Must be more than 1.5 times IQR below Q1 or more than 1.5 times IQR above Q3. Question number 12. True false question. Tableau can join 2 or more data sources like a database to create a single table. That's true. It is better to create calculated fields in Excel before importing the data into Tableau. No, Tableau has calculated fields. So true false is the correct answer. Another true false question. Motion is a pre-attentive attribute. That's true. Changes in texture can be detected pre-attentively. Yes, because texture is a pre-attentive attribute. So true, true. Question number 14. Which type of chart did we use to visualize the percentage sales for different music formats in the day the music died exercise? Do you guys remember? Let's see what you guys think. Yeah, we used stacked area chart. How many of you remember that chart? How it looked, kind of? Only 2 people? Who else remembers? All right, good. Suppose cells A2 to B20 contain a table with product numbers in column A and product prices in column B. What does the formula VLOOKUP A25 from A2 to B20 to false return? Number 3 is correct. So the price for the product in column A, if the exact product number corresponding to A25 can be found. If not found, NA will be returned. All right. Given the scatter plot showing the relationship between the percentage of obese adults and the number of fast food restaurants for 1,000 residents below, what can you infer from this chart? And this is a repeat. The y-axis is the percentage of obese adults. The x-axis is the number of fast food restaurants per 1,000 residents. Yeah, based on this chart, the density of fast food restaurants seems to have no relationship with the obesity rate. We have a cloud of data. We have like a perfect cloud of data to which we cannot really fit a line. Or if we do, it's not going to be a strong correlation. I suspect it's not going to be even a weak correlation. This is a repeat. What can you say about the relationship between Pokemon's height and weight? Yeah, number 2, for obvious reasons. The match function. We had VLOOKUP and we have the match function. So is it 2 or is it this or this? Yeah, it's number 4 because we have specified sheet 2's column 1 from row 1 to row 100 of column B. So column B from 1 to 100. That's how we match using this matching statement. We are calling the match function. And this is in Excel, by the way. So number 4 is the correct answer. We talked about this last week. Let's see if you guys remember that. What's the difference between VLOOKUP and match? It's 4. D. VLOOKUP returns a search cell's value while match returns a column or row number of a searched cell. So match effectively returns an index. This is a Gantt chart. All others are irrelevant. And you can tell it's for project management. What is this chart? What type of chart this is? Yeah, this is a waterfall chart. And probably for some of you, this is the first time you see a waterfall chart. The reference for each bar is the ending of the previous bar. So we know where we stood, and we either go up or we go down. Waterfall chart, interesting charts. More patterns or more effect become more or less intense when we superimpose one grid of lines over another grid of lines, and the two groups are nearly what? More intense parallel, right? Question 23. Which of them do not typically use color to encode data? It's A. For box plots, for standard box plots, we do not need colors. Yeah, if we add some features into it, yeah. But standard box plots, and you saw several examples today, right? They were colorless. Histograms too. All right. This is a repeat. You agree with me, right? And which one is the correct answer? Hopefully this is not too blurry and you can still see it. Yeah, B is the correct answer. Drag the story date and source category under the table section on the left to filter section. So again, the key is to use filters. Okay. This is an essay question, although we are not going to have an essay question in the exam, but this can easily be converted into a multiple choice question, right? What are two problems of the following data visualization? And this is open for discussion. Take your time, and then I'm gonna ask one or multiple of you to volunteer for this. This has at least two problems. And let's deal with the main problems first. Okay, one might say the color choice is not the best, but it seems to be colorblind friendly, so the choice of color, although it's not the best, but it's not the biggest problem with this chart. All right, who wants to volunteer? Any volunteers? Oh, Joseph, go ahead.
Other than the actual colors, I understand that the different shapings actually would work, but in this form it just doesn't. If it wasn't if the different visualizations of our business um A, B, C, D, creating different shapes works, but not in this form.
Why does it not work? It's obvious, right? Can you put it into words?
It's hard to compare between it.
Yes. And a lot of times they uh, overlap, right?
Yeah,
They
it's
like each other. So
mhm.
good. What else? Do you see any other problems with this?
I mean, that's one of the biggest ones.
Good. A round of applause for Joseph. And if you see any other problems with this, let us know. Otherwise, we are going to ask other people to add to your answer. Thank you, Joseph. Uh, anyone wanting to chip in? Jonathan Huang, go ahead.
I was going to say that based on like the different categories, it's kind of hard to see like the relationship with all the other competitors to like see the difference.
So yeah,
So it's
good. So a lot of back and forth is needed between the guide to tell which one is which shape is which, or which color is which. So we have to do a lot of this, right? Going back and forth between the guide and the chart itself. A round of applause for Jonathan Huang. And of course, the choice of color is not the best, but more important, the choice of shapes to begin with. That's not good. I would not have used shapes at all, and I would have used different colors. Overlapping points is better than overlapping shapes because, as for example, here you would have a hard time finding out this is actually two data points. It's not just one. But if we want to fundamentally improve this, we would have to change the scale so that there is less overlap, less obstruction. Okay, so two main problems are shapes, because of these the way the shapes that are used as pre-attentive attributes. It's hard to perform quantitative comparisons. For example, in this case, we can't tell. Whereas I would argue if we had two dots, it would have been a little bit easier to say which one is higher. Right here, we have to determine the middle of the triangle and compare it against the middle of the x. Not good. And number one, the main problem is that you have to do a lot of back and forth to see which one is which. Why? Because Why is that a big issue? Because the number of categories is not small. If we had 3, yeah, we would memorize it. We would not be looking at it at this so many times, but 6 is a large number to remember. Plus, the use of shapes makes it hard. You feel like you have to memorize 2 things, right? The color and the shape. That's another way to look at it. We are unnecessarily using not only the shape, but also the color as our encoding scheme. And that's not adding any value. Tony, I'm confused too. So let's make that open for discussion. Well, what do you guys think to answer Tony's question? He has a good question. Baseline would be a target. What is negative 0.5 versus 0.5? Is anyone interested in interpreting this bad chart? It could be not negative and performing less than a target. So I do not have a concrete answer to that. Since it's a bad chart, I did not interpret it. But has anyone have a stronger idea than mine as to what this is? Y-axis is a quantitative variable, that's for sure. Y-axis is weighted performance index. But what does 0 mean? And what does 0.5 mean? Anyone has any ideas? We have, let's see how many. We have 73 people in the class. Anyone? All right. No worries. About the exam, one person asked whether you can backtrack. No, just like the quizzes, you cannot backtrack. So you need to make up your mind, choose the best answer, and move on. You cannot go back. Someone else was asking whether this meeting is being recorded. Yes, as I mentioned before. Another person was asking whether the link to this recording will be shared by the class. Yes, it will be shared. That's the whole purpose of recording it. We have some time. Let me go over exam 1 instructions actually. So 12:15 on Thursday. Okay. I hope that all of you have marked your calendars. More so, I hope that you have already started studying for the exam. 25 multiple choice questions. You will only be able to see one question at a time and will not be able to revise the questions that you have already answered. You can take it only once. You need to stay on the Zoom meeting during the exam. This means you do not need to be on campus, but you need to be on a Zoom meeting, and that's where we take attendance. So your attendance matters. If you take the exam on your own without coming to the Zoom meeting, that's not gonna be considered legitimate. If you have a question, please ask it privately for obvious reasons, because it's likely that your confusion is only your own confusion. So we will answer to you privately instead of distracting the entire class. The exam is closed book, closed notes, and that includes all online notes and resources and course materials. You're only allowed to look at the exam page and use a piece of scratch paper just in case. Canvas will report the amount of time spent on the exam page. So if someone spends 2 minutes on the exam page and still gets a decent grade, that would be reported as suspicious by Canvas. Total is going to be more than 100 because we included some extra credit questions. And if a question has some sort of issues, that question will be removed and the grade will be given to everyone. And I think we did so for one of the questions in one of the quizzes. So you know how it works. And you have 50 minutes. So 12:15 to 1:05. Okay. Now you know the exam details, so we can open the exam, post it at 12:15 on Thursday. Do we need to be on camera? No. You can go over these questions independently. It's open until Thursday, so you can review them at your convenience. You can spend as much time as you want on it. Also, you can watch my recording. So those are options. You can take both or take either of the options. Did I miss any questions? The quizzes show all questions at once, so that is not how I wanted them to be. But on the exam, you cannot backtrack, that's for sure. All right. All right. Any other good questions? Are we good? All right. Luis, let's stop recording.